Imagine it's April 1917. The world is burning. Trenches stretch across Europe. Empires are crumbling, but something is missing. The United States never enters the war. No doughboys landing in France. No war bonds, no Liberty loans. Just a distant America, watching from afar, clinging to isolationism. So what happens next? Without America's entry into World War I, the conflict drags on even longer. By 1917, the Allies, primarily Britain and France, were exhausted. Their economies strained, their soldiers demoralized. They were counting on American manpower, money, and materials to tip the scales. Without US troops to bolster the Western Front, Germany doesn't face a fresh surge of Allied force. The balance remains razor thin. The German Spring Offensive of 1918, which in our timeline ultimately failed due to reinforced Allied lines, now gains ground. With no American troops reinforcing the trenches, the German army pushes deeper into France. Paris is threatened again. British and French forces are stretched to the breaking point. Meanwhile, back home in the United States, President Woodrow Wilson remains neutral, upholding his 1916 campaign promise to keep America out of European wars. The Zimmermann telegram still exists. German U-boats still attack merchant ships. But in this version of history, public pressure and political inertia hold back American involvement. The lack of US entry sends ripple effects across the globe. Financially, Britain and France begin to collapse under the weight of war debts. Their central banks run dry. Industrial output plummets. The morale of entire nations dips lower than the muddy trenches themselves. Eventually, the Allies may be forced to negotiate peace with Germany. But this is not the Treaty of Versailles we know. This is a settlement forged out of exhaustion, not victory. The Central Powers, led by Germany and Austria-Hungary, walk away with favorable terms. No harsh reparations. No war guilt clause. The German Empire survives, albeit strained and weakened. The Ottoman Empire may still crumble, but without Allied intervention, the Middle East isn't carved up in the same way. The modern borders we know in that region might look entirely different. The map of Europe is rewritten, not by the victors, but by compromise. But perhaps the most profound change comes after the war. Without the emotional and financial devastation that the Treaty of Versailles inflicted on Germany in our reality, Adolf Hitler never finds the same fertile ground for his rise to power. There's no hyperinflation, no national humiliation to exploit. Nazism may remain a fringe idea. World War II, as we know it, may never happen. And what of America? Without its entry into the war, the US remains economically powerful, but politically isolated. It doesn't emerge as the world's great superpower. The American century is delayed, or may never come at all. Europe rebuilds without American aid. The League of Nations never gains traction. Wilson's idealistic vision never gets its moral push. Global diplomacy stays fragmented. Technology and culture also shift. Without the war, certain inventions like tanks, aircraft advancements, and even medical breakthroughs slow down. The Jazz Age may still happen, but the Roaring Twenties might not roar as loudly without the post-war economic boom fueled by American arms and manufacturing. And the Cold War, without the clear dichotomy between American capitalism and Soviet communism created after World War II, global geopolitics may take a different shape entirely. The Soviet Union may still rise, but unchecked by a strong US presence on the global stage, it faces a different set of allies and adversaries. In the end, America's absence from World War I doesn't just lengthen the war, it alters the entire 20th century. It delays US global dominance. It reshapes Europe. It possibly prevents the Second World War. And it leaves us wondering, how different would our world be if the arsenal of democracy had stayed silent? Sometimes, what doesn't happen can echo louder than what does.